What's up, guys? Welcome to a long form, real low dopamine. So you're not going to get much dopamine from this video, but you will hopefully get a good education from it. Hopefully a little bit of entertainment too. But what's up, guys? My name's Kenny. Welcome to Kenny's Raw Thoughts. Today we're going to talk about building your dream physique. So let's basically, dive into this full guide to achieving your dream physique. What exactly is the dream physique? Well, I can imagine for most people, it's first of all a lean physique, really lean, but not shredded. That way you can actually have energy, because if you're shredded, you're not gonna be healthy, you're not gonna have a ton of energy, your hormones are gonna be way off whack. You're not gonna feel good, and you're not gonna actually be healthy, you're not gonna be able to actually improve your performance, whether that's strength or cardio in the gym. You're not gonna sleep well. You're not going to be in a good state. So you need to be really lean, and that really depends on the person, because there's a low level of body fat for each of us that's maintainable to allow us to feel really good and to still have optimal performance. And I'm talking naturally, because you can get shredded and use drugs and still feel good, but still there's some, give and take as far as being too shredded and then getting some negative side effects. But get to the low end of your body fat percentage to where you can function optimally, and then you also look the most standout. So that's the goal. Get as close to that low end of the body fat as possible. Have good muscle development. Be nice and strong. Be mobile, be flexible, and be injury-free. There's nothing worse than being like a muscle-bound person. So you want to be nice and mobile, nice and flexible. Obviously injury-free is a massive one. The next question is, how much do I have to sacrifice and endure to look like this? And is this physique attainable, let alone even sustainable? So like I said, guys, my name's Kenny. I've been training for over a decade consistently, and then even before that for a few years, kind of like on and off for a few months at a time, home workouts, stuff like that. Full natty over here representing, and I've been really lean before. I'll throw up a picture. The only issue is that I've been lazy and not maintained this level of leanness, but this is changing right now, and I'm cutting back down, and I'm gonna actually stay lean. Like I said, I'm gonna get within that low end of the body fat range. For me, I'm gonna say about 8 to 10%, and that's a true 8 to 10%, because some of you are saying 8 to 10% body fat, but you're more like 12 to 15. So a true 8 to 10% body fat. I'm gonna judge it by basically looking at my body and saying that there's pretty much no fat on me, because somehow the discrepancy from 8% to 5%, you somehow look even more like an alien. But 8%, guys, there is basically no fat on your body. You are basically shredded as far as anybody's concerned. It's only the people in the bodybuilding space that'll be like, oh no, you can lose a little more fat or lose a little more, get a little bit more deeper cuts. But 8 to 10% is basically, as far as the general public is concerned, pretty well shredded. But obviously, for the sake of having high standards, we're gonna call it very lean, not shredded. So this plan will apply to you guys too. So this is what I'm doing right now, but it's gonna apply to you too. It's just gonna look a little bit different depending on where you're starting, and of course depending on your genetics. And basically, as we'll talk more and more into it, what you're willing to sacrifice and what you actually want your life to look like. So the only issue is that, or sorry, I'm repeating myself. Let's get to the next part. So you have the option of doing whatever you want, depending on if your goals change, but the whole point is that you are able to get lean and stay lean if you want to. Now, if you're gonna play a sport, then obviously this doesn't apply to you, but if you're the regular gym goer and you just wanna have an amazing physique, then this is the guide for you to look absolutely stand out. There is a huge difference between just getting lean and getting lean the right way. If you get lean the right way, you just continue the plan. And the amazing thing about this is that it's actually easier to stay lean when you're already lean. Low calories doesn't mean a deficit anymore once you're lean. You don't feel the same way. You don't feel as hungry. You don't feel as lifeless because you're not in such a big deficit. These low calories are what you now need to maintain. So you're not feeling the effects of a deficit. So it's way different. But if you get lean the wrong way, what do you do once you're done? Well, most likely you just binge and then you realize that months of hard work is outdone by weeks of messing up. Because you can't sustain something that's not gonna be sustainable. So there's a difference here, guys. We're getting lean, but we're also trying to stay lean. Like I said, you can up your body fat a little bit and have kind of a range, but your range is still so that you're super lean and still continue to look stand out. Unless your goals change, and then you can do whatever you want. All right, so with all this kind of, to keep in mind, and there's so much other stuff to keep in mind, but let's create a good plan that will actually make you get to your dream physique and then maintain it, and then not make you spend a ton of money or a ton of time in the gym. Because if you have to spend a ton of money all the time and a ton of time in the gym, then obviously this is not a sustainable physique. So getting to the physique and actually sustaining it, that's the goal of this plan. And that physique is going to be super standout, and we're going to make it fun, and we're going to make it possible to maintain. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to break things down into 3 categories. Then I'm going to do a final conclusion about the mentality that you need to have. I'll save that mentality piece for the end because I know it can be boring to talk about. Although if you're serious about this plan and reaching your dream physique, then you will want to get the mentality down. If you don't, you probably won't get into your dream physique. You're going to sabotage yourself as you start to get good results, or you won't maintain it. But most likely, if you don't have the mentality down, you won't get to your physique. Some people don't need that portion of the video, but I would say most people do. You don't need it if it naturally comes to you. And then again, if it naturally came to you, you probably wouldn't be watching a video on how to get into your dream physique. Or maybe you might be. So let's just get into it, guys. So we're gonna break things down into the diet, workouts, and the cardio. So nice and simple. Those are the 3 main categories. Cardio, is that Spanish? I don't know, never heard of it, but we're gonna talk about it. So first off, guys, let's talk about the diet. I put it first because in all honesty, it's probably the most important. You can't build muscle efficiently without the proper nutrition. Also, you can train all your life and never achieve a certain physique, never achieve a certain look because of your diet. You need to be able to get lean enough for your physique to change dramatically and have that standout look that you're going for, to have the shape that you're looking for. You need the cuts. You need to get rid of the body fat to get the cuts, to get the shape, otherwise you will never get the look that you're going for. It's literally impossible without the diet. It's literally impossible. It doesn't matter how much you work out, you could always overcompensate that by a bad diet. And if you were on such a heavy cardio routine and lifting so much weights, at some point, you're not gonna be able to, it's not sustainable, right? That's not sustainable. So you cannot do this without nailing the diet. You need to be able to get lean enough. Sorry, I'm repeating myself here, guys. So like I said, it's literally impossible without the diet. In fact, I'd argue that a skinnier physique with good leanness and like a nice chiseled jawline looks better than a pudgy guy who has a lot of muscle. That's up for you guys. That's up to you guys to decide. I'm just talking looks here, not who would win in a fight. The whole point that I'm trying to make is that you can't out-train a bad diet, and the standout look you're going for is mostly possible because of nailing the diet. So let's nail it. So you might be wondering, what do you eat? Well, it's obvious that it should be healthy food, right? So just try to eat healthier. Just start there. And with everything, just start and always try to improve. Okay, so you'll do as much whole foods as you can, limit cheat meals, don't have cheat days, have cheat meals, and moderate yourself with the cheat meals, and keep them to like once a week or once every other week. I suggest personally doing 2 meals with a snack, high fat, moderate protein, low carb macronutrient breakdown, mostly eating animal products, some fruits and honey, and a little bit of vegetables. It's the so-called animal-based diet. You can basically eat what you want. You don't have to do animal-based diet. That's just what I do. But I find this is the best, and the macronutrient breakdown I find is actually key to feeling satisfied and making gains. So that high fat, moderate protein, low carb, I find is key. It's not keto because your protein is a lot higher and your carbs are not 0. But trust me, bro, you don't need nearly as much protein as you think you do. It's all a hoax, in my opinion. And you feel more fat. you feel more full with more fat than you do with more protein. People talk about the thermic effect of protein and feeling super full with protein, but in all honesty, guys, I feel the most full when I eat higher fats. And I know that sounds a bit counterintuitive because fats have more calories per gram, and therefore it seems like you can eat more food with protein, but I find the fat is super key. So do this macronutrient breakdown. I really, really strongly believe in this one. But again, like, you can do whatever you want to do. It may not be the most optimal for you. Maybe you feel better on a different macronutrient breakdown, so that's completely up to you. All right, so let's talk about how the day will roughly look like. I'm just gonna check the battery percentage. Okay, still got some time. So I wake up at 6 a.m., guys. I have about 3 to 4 coffees in total. I put protein powder mixed with some whole milk for my creamer. It's a hack. And then I also use diet drinks, 0-calorie drinks throughout the day to keep me full, along with a ton of water too. I'm not dehydrated. I make sure I drink a lot of water in between having sips of my coffee and my 0-calorie drinks. But in the morning, I typically have a little bit of fruit, whether it's blueberries, apples, banana, and I typically put honey with it. So it's like fruits with honey, but just a little bit of it. Lots of coffee with the protein powder and the whole milk, and 0-calorie drinks and water as necessary to feel full. So basically, I'm not fully intermittent fasting, but I'm kind of intermittent fasting in the fact that I'm pushing most of my calories for dinner and then pushing back that first meal and not having my first real meal until like in the afternoon. So not every day is the same, but let's say on a regular typical day, it's time for the gym at roughly 11 a.m. I typically wake up at 6, right? So I do the fruit and the coffee in the morning, let my stomach get nice and cleared out, because I do not work well on a full stomach or even with a little bit of food in my stomach during a workout, because I do high intensity workouts and I do cardio every workout, and I have cardio days, and I can't push hard if there's food in my stomach. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I need to have basically an empty stomach. I'm just kind of weird like that. But obviously if that was not you, then you can modify this plan accordingly. But anyways, hitting the gym at 11 a.m., coming back from the gym, and I have a meal usually around like 1:30ish, and that's gonna be not a big meal, just a small meal. It's usually ground beef, and then sometimes I add like something to it, either like butternut squash, some red pepper, some cheese or whatever. But usually I'll do some work, right? Have that small meal, do some work. And then I wait to have dinner around like 5 p.m., which is usually ground beef again, but just more. And if I didn't have the cheese with the first meal because I didn't feel as hungry at that time, I'll have the cheese now sometimes. Sometimes I'll have, like I said, the butternut squash, but at this meal, sometimes I'll have broccoli. It really just depends. Sometimes I'll have some hard-boiled eggs or maybe some scrambled eggs. It really depends on how I portion things out earlier, and also how much fruit I ate earlier too. So with that said, I'm eating 1,800 calories, and that's what works for me to get to my goal body fat. I'm not saying for you guys to do that. So that brings into another question. How do you know how many calories to eat? You need to use a basal metabolic rate, a BMR calculator, subtract about 400 calories from the baseline calories to maintain your weight, then weigh yourself and see if you're losing weight week after week. Do this for about 2 weeks. You can weigh yourself like each day. Just know that your weight does fluctuate quite a bit. So get like the average trend over the course of like say 2 weeks. And then you can kind of adjust from there. So if you're not losing weight, drop the calories a little bit more or increase the activity. And we'll kind of talk about that stuff later on. And then you just kind of keep going from there. But you want to have a small deficit. And then you basically just keep going and going and going. And as you get closer and closer to your goal body fat, you'll see that those calories will need to drop accordingly. And whatever they end up at, that's what it takes to look like that. It's going to be different for all of us. I'm saying 1,800. You guys might be like, whoa, that's way too low, way too low. Some guys might be saying, hey, I can get shredded eating like 2,500 calories. I cannot. And I can't do an hour and a half of cardio every day to eat 2,500 calories to be at this body fat, because I can't do an hour and a half of cardio every day. So this is what I have to do. It's an honest look. If I eat more, I will never get to the body fat that I want to get to. It's as simple as that. So figure it out, and what it takes is what it takes, and you either want to do it or you don't. So like I said before, it's a balance between what you consume and what your activity level is. Either you eat less or move more, but keep in mind it has to be sustainable. if you're expected to do 2 hours of cardio a day, can you do that every day for a year? Probably not. So genetics and metabolism come into play, but that's for overall calorie intake, but it doesn't account that 2,000 calories for me can make me feel the same way that 2,500 calories does for you based on your metabolism. So you may be eating more food, but you might feel just as hungry as me. So don't worry about the number, just figure out what you need to do and use the plan that I gave you guys, starting with the BMR calculator and then subtracting, getting a slight calorie deficit, and then just adjust from there basically. And what it takes is what it takes for you. And yeah, so just figure it out and then just do it. And if you do it, you'll get the results. And if you don't do it, you won't. It's as simple as that. So I covered the meal structure, which is huge, by the way. I find it easier to feel hungry during the day rather than at night. So the coffee and the fluids and the 0-calorie drinks, this helps to push the hunger away in the morning. And I don't consume a lot of calories anyways, so that way I can have a good workout. Your structure can change as you need it to. Some days I'll have more of like a brunch and then hit like a late afternoon workout. It just depends. If it's gonna be a later workout, I'm not gonna push the meals back that much. I will have like that first meal before the gym, but maybe at like 8 a.m. or like 7 a.m. So there's a lot of adjustments that can be made. But what I'm trying to really push is the 2 meals and the snack for me has been key. I don't like the 1 meal a day because I find you're just thinking about food way too much. And I don't like the way that I feel basically for the entire day just to get a big meal at the end of the day. With that said, sometimes I do the 1 meal a day and I have a small snack throughout the day, but that is depending on the day. It's usually on the weekend that it ends up kind of working out like that, because I want to eat a bit of a different type of food. And then I like to eat more of it and be able to have a little more fun food. And so I want to save more calories, but it kind of works like that for the weekend. I could not do that Monday to Friday though, guys. So keep in mind that this is what I found is sustainable for me. If you can do the 1 meal a day, like the 1 big meal and then like a small snack throughout the day, and be consistent with that, then go ahead and do that. But I found that the complete cheat code for me is the 2 meals, 1 being smaller, or sorry, let's kind of back up a little bit. Having a snack, having a ton of coffee, having a small meal, and then having like a moderate big meal. So I take a little bit of calories away from dinner and disperse it throughout the day, and I've just found that for me, for the most part, that works. But like I said, I still sometimes do that 1 massive meal with a small snack for some days if I really want to save calories for like a big, nice dinner where I can enjoy eating more of like something more fun. Therefore, you need to save a little more calories for it. So yeah, give that a try. Eat healthy, get the high fat, moderate protein, low carb breakdown. Whatever your goal weight is, and I know it's going to be roughly kind of hard to estimate, but as you get leaner, you can roughly estimate where you want to stop. Give or take, multiply that goal weight by 0.8 to 0.85, and that should be how much protein you're going to get. Basically, you want to go off of, I would say, yeah, like 0.8, 0.85 for like a lean body weight. Because I don't think you need as much protein as you think you do, because I've been doing this and I've been making gains, looking great, not losing muscle, getting stronger, feeling super, super good. This is the best I've ever felt on any diet, the most full, the most energetic. And I feel like I'm actually able to sustain it. In the past, I felt like the plans that I was on, I wasn't able to sustain the plan that I was on, which is why I would jump back up in body fat so quickly after finishing the diet. So this macronutrient breakdown I find is really like super key. So hopefully this makes sense, but if it doesn't, I'll show you guys my MyFitnessPal tracking from one of the days. And now we will talk about workouts, but just quickly before I move on, with the diet, I typically will try to do a meal plan Monday to Friday and then change up my food Saturday and Sunday to get some variety. I find that just kind of works well for me, but honestly guys, do whatever you want. That's what I suggest, but if you're somebody that needs variety, I find a lot of women need variety in their diet. I don't know how many women watch this or are gonna watch this video, but if you're one of those people, just adjust and give yourself the variety if you feel like you need it. So let's get into the workout. So part 2 here, this is the fun part. I know you've been waiting for it, and maybe some of you are dreading it, but probably not. So this next comment could go either way. Now this is gonna surprise you, but you don't need to work out, or you don't need to lift weights as much as you think. I don't mean that you don't need to push yourself and have high intensity, but it's just that we can only improve so much per workout. I think of it as like a maximum amount of improvement per workout per day. And you just need to get to this amount. And then it's really about consistency over time. You've already maxed out the window that you have for the day, and then you just need to recover and then come back for the next workout the next day. And there's only a certain amount of work that you can put in for the week per muscle group as well. It's all under the context though of being lean, improving cardio, staying injury free. And it's because we're trying to be well-rounded, but we're also trying to be a standout person in all these areas, right? Like, you really need the leanness to stand out. You really want to have good endurance. You really want to be mobile. All this stuff takes time, and you can't spend 3 hours in the gym because, again, that's not sustainable. And then eventually you're going to lose one part of the plan. Either you're going to start not building muscle as efficiently, not improving your endurance, not staying lean. So we need to figure out a plan that encompasses all this stuff. I'm going to be saying this multiple times throughout the video, but our plan needs to encompass all of this stuff in order to work, because this is our goal, right? You need to be careful, otherwise lifting too much weights will actually catch up to you. And now trust me, I've tried super high volume versus low volume, high intensity, and I find that low volume is better when taking all of these other things into account, which you probably want to take into account anyways. So what does that actually look like? So this is what the program looks like. It's 4 times per week weight workouts. Day 1 is back with a little bit of biceps or forearms. And I have my workout program right now that I'm gonna tell you guys. So let's just go through really quickly as well. So day 2 is chest, side delt, and calves. Day 3 is legs. It's like glutes, hams, and quads, because we're doing calves on day 2. And day 4 is front delts, because I mostly do shoulder presses and front raises. Then rear delts, traps, and triceps. All right, breaking this down, trying to be fairly efficient with it. What you want to do is you want to do 4 to 6 sets per muscle group, with each working set to failure. Warm up to a top set. Warm-ups do not take to failure. Hit the top set. That's going to be your heaviest weight for the workout for that exercise. Hit that to failure. Maybe go beyond failure by doing some partials, or if you have a workout partner, you can do forced reps. Then do a bunch of drop sets or rest pauses, and rest pauses are basically short rest periods between your sets, way less than you would take for another regular set. And do these to failure. Every 4 to 6 sets is taken into account that these sets are taken to failure. If you want to do 1 exercise per muscle group, that's fine, or you can do 2. If you're doing like 5 or 6 working sets for a muscle group, you're probably going to want to pick two exercises, and you're probably going to want to vary your exercises here and there to train different parts, especially your back. You need to work on your width and your thickness. So you need to work on pulling vertically and horizontally. And when you're working on chest, you need to be thinking and press incline and also flat to have a well-balanced chest. And I break up my shoulders into the 3 heads. So I do 4 to 6 working sets for the front delt, side delt, and the rear delt. Honestly, guys, the next day you will be sore. You will make gains. But what you'll notice is that you're getting stronger each week, even while cutting weight, and you're able to fully recover for your next workout. With less overall stress on your joints, you are hurting way less too. You're getting way less elbow pain, even though you're getting super strong. Which brings me to another point. Use good form. Make your muscles do the work, do not ego lift. You're trying to get the strongest that you can possibly get with the correct form. That way, when you're getting stronger, it reflects that your muscles are getting stronger and bigger. That's it pretty much for the workouts. Just pick stuff that trains your body in such a way that you improve your weak points and that you build muscles to create an aesthetic physique. You should be balanced top to bottom. Train calves. This is a PSA to all men. Women don't really need to train their calves, but still train them here and there. For guys, focus on shoulders, and your lats. This helps with width to get that V taper, and also being balanced on the bottom, which you need to train legs, gives you that X frame. Also a little trick, do hammer curls and build up the brachialis, which is right here in between your triceps and biceps. I'm just gonna take a peek at my battery. Okay, 32%, guys. I gotta talk quick. I wanna get this video done. And your brachioradialis, which is right here. And if you don't know why you should be training this, think about it. When you wear a t-shirt, this is what people see. Because a lot of the times you have most of your upper arm covered up, or even like half of it covered up. You don't see your shoulders, which kind of sucks because my shoulders are like one of my best body parts. So people don't really get to see that, but they do get to see this basically all the time. So it's gonna make you look way more impressive if you have the brachioradialis. And also it makes your arms look way more impressive when you have a brachialis development, because it pushes out your triceps and your biceps. It makes your arms look even bigger. So I might as well give you guys some examples of what I do in a typical week. Like I said, I pick exercises to stick with. So this is what I've been doing for the past little while. I stick with exercises consistently for months, so that way I can track strength progress and really hone in on getting super, super strong on these exercises, and therefore building a bunch of muscle that I would otherwise not build if I didn't focus in on these exercises, because you become more efficient at doing the exercises, and then you can get your muscles to lift the weights properly and therefore build some more muscle. Yeah, you get efficient with the neural patterns, you get efficient with the motion, like the actual range of motion, the actual pattern of movement. You become more efficient, you become more comfortable with it, and you can actually focus on using your muscles to push the weight, and therefore you can, I find, get more gains doing it that way, and then you can switch to other exercises to then change things up, work different muscles, work them in slightly different ways. So that's what I do. So for day one, and remember this was the back day, it's a one arm pull down, 4 to 6 sets, one arm so I can have balance so that my lats aren't two different sizes, which I find if I do a ton of 2-arm stuff for vertical pulls, my lats end up being unevenly distributed in terms of like the growth, because I favor one side over the other. And it's like that for a lot of muscle groups, which is why you'll find I tend to stick with one arm stuff or like dumbbells, is to have that symmetry. Next, I typically do a hammer curl, 4 to 6 sets. I consider that a different muscle group compared to your biceps. Next, machine chest supported row, because I have a lower back issue right now, so I'm doing all things chest supported. I do 2 sets high and 2 sets low, or I can do 3 sets, because it's 4 to 6 sets. I can do, you know, any variation of that. And then I finish up with a bicep curl, and alternating week, a reverse curl, 4 to 6 sets. So I consider the forearms a different muscle group, the biceps a different muscle group, the brachialis and brachioradialis for the hammer curls a different muscle group. The vertical pulls I consider a muscle group, so the lats, and then the horizontal pulls I consider a muscle group, because that's working thickness and width. Thickness being the horizontal pulling and width being the vertical pulling. So that's why you'll notice 4 to 6 sets for the vertical pulls, for the hammer curls, for the horizontal pulls, and then I alternate with the biceps or the forearms every other week. And again, I consider it a different muscle group. So again, I do 4 to 6 sets for that exercise. As far as like what you're gonna do, guys, you can vary this quite a bit. You can vary the exercise order, but I suggest trying to nail that first exercise that you're really trying to prioritize first, so that you're putting the most effort into that one, or you're the most fresh for that one. And it should be the area that you want to build the most, or maybe it's like your weak point. It's really up to you. There's a lot of variation, because guys, you need to have fun. Like, you need to create a program that you're doing stuff that makes you balance, because you don't want to be stupid and be like top heavy, or have like a discrepancy between your hamstrings and your quads, and then you open yourself up to an injury. So you need to be smart, you need to be balanced, but you also need to think, I need to have fun, because it comes back to the idea of this being sustainable. All right, so let's whip through the next set here. So we got chest incline dumbbell press, 2 to 3 sets. And that's because later in the workout, I like to do push-ups, 2 to 3 sets. Second exercise, I typically try to do lateral dumbbell raises, 4 to 6 sets. I really like these over like machine raises. And then I do seated calf, 4 to 6 sets. I can't do knees straight calf raises right now, because I find it puts a lot of pressure on my lower back, and I'm overcoming a lower back injury right now. So I'm sticking with the seated calf. And anyways, I want to get super strong on this exercise before I move on to something else. But I still could do like 3 sets on the seated calf and 3 on the knee straight if I could do the knee straight and still focus on one being the first calf exercise that I do. So you still have that option of doing that. Day 3, guys, I typically start with a seated ham curl, 2 to 3 sets. Then I move to a hack squat for my quads, 4 to 6 sets. And this is all I do for quads because knee extensions or leg extensions put pressure on that lower back kind of area. So I avoid those. And then I do abductors or the bad girls, 2 to 3 sets, because I do hip thrusts, 2 to 3 sets, and then finish with lying ham curl, 1 to 2 sets. So in total, hamstrings will be 4 to 6 sets, glutes will be 4 to 6 sets, quads will be 4 to 6 sets. Day 4, I do a superset, and today was day 4 for me. A superset of shoulder press with the dumbbells and dumbbell front raise. I typically do anywhere from 2 to 3 of those supersets, which if there's 2 sets per superset, it's gonna be 4 to 6 sets. Or sometimes I might do an extra press or an extra raise and not do the full superset for the last one. So it really just depends. Again, change it up, have some fun, but I'm still trying to always hit that top set for everything and prioritizing that first exercise that I really wanna improve my physique with. And then I do reverse pec deck, 4 to 6 sets, and triceps push down, one arm, 2 to 3 sets, palm down, and then 2 to 3 sets palm up. I forgot to do the palm up today, so I just did 5 sets palm down. So again, variation, that's completely okay. And no, guys, I didn't forget about abs. I do those on my cardio days, which is next to talk about. So so let's talk about cardio. So cardio is the next topic. I do cardio 20 minutes post weight workouts. So that's 4 times a week, 20 minutes. Then I have cardio days 2 to 3 times per week, 45 minutes-ish. It can be anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour or more. But I try to hit that 45 minutes because I find that's pretty sustainable. I don't necessarily have to do that 7th day. And if I want to do that 7th day, less time, less intensity, and still be active, or do something cardio based outside of the gym, then that's completely okay too. You do not need to do cardio always in the gym. I'm usually doing it on the stationary bike, and now I'm running on the treadmill instead of walking because it helps me to burn more calories, so I don't have to do cardio for longer to burn more calories, but I just have to up my intensity. With that said, guys, cardio is way more important than just burning calories, but we'll talk about that in a second. It's good for overall health and recovery. Better cardio will actually improve your weightlifting. So think about this. So if you're able to recover quicker in between sets and quicker in between sessions, you're gonna build more muscle. And you do that by improving your cardiovascular system. So cardio is way more important than you think, so please do not skip your cardio, it's essential. So like I mentioned before, when trying to increase your cardio, you can increase the time or push your intensity so that you burn more calories in the same amount of time. For me, like I said, I started running, not all the time though, so that I burn more calories than the classic incline treadmill walk that every bodybuilder does. Over time, this increase in effort for some of the cardio sessions will allow for better weight loss and also make it easier for me to stay lean and also allow me to eat more calories if I wanted to, which is great because you can stay just as lean and eat more calories if you expend more. Keep in mind that for something like the bike or even walking, as you get more fit, you can push yourself harder, which allows you to burn more calories, but you're still using the same intensity. A fit person's moderate effort is gonna burn more calories because they have to push themselves on a higher level because they're that much more fit, which in result is gonna burn more calories. Somebody that's less fit is going to have the same moderate effort, but on a much lower level on the treadmill, therefore burning much less calories. The more fit you get, the easier it becomes to get fitter. It works for you as long as you have a good program. So that's it. That's my guide to getting in your dream shape. Now, the next part is the mentality. So if you guys want to click off, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, but if you're really serious, stick around for this next portion. We're gonna look at that mentality and some key points that you will need to get into your dream shape. The reason why I think this mentality helps you get into your dream shape is that you can actually believe that you're the person that can be in the shape, and also it helps you to stay consistent with the plan, which ultimately will get you the results. So, what do you need to consider as far as the mentality? So the first thing is, one, you're gonna need to visualize yourself as this person. I know it sounds lame, but just do it. You need to see yourself as this person, otherwise you won't push hard and you'll sabotage yourself when you start to get good results. It's very hard to attain this, but easier to maintain, but you gotta have the picture in mind in order to be able to push to actually get there. It's really hard to get in shape, guys. It's kind of cruel because it's super hard to get there, but it's easier to stay there. So something that is so difficult is hardest at the beginning, but it's easier to maintain even though it's still difficult. And that's for a variety of reasons. That's because you become the person that is willing to do this stuff, and also it becomes a little bit easier physiologically because, again, like I said before, you're not feeling the effects of a deficit. Those calories that are low are now used to maintain, they're not used to lose weight. So you're gonna feel much different. You still need to understand that it's a hard life. You will still need to sacrifice and endure, and those are like two of my favorite words right now, sacrifice and endure. But the pain of hard work produces a life worth living. The results will all be worth it. And the life of hard work is much more satisfying than a lazy, careless life. Also, as you get better, you become the person who does this, so it's not that it will overall become easy in a sense, but it's that you become better, which is what you want anyways. And that's what I kind of like briefly touched on already. Sorry, I meant to say, guys, that point two for the mentality is you need to understand that you need to sacrifice and endure. And then all the other things that I said after that is under point two. So I have 3 points for the mentality. So first one was you need to visualize yourself as this person. Point two, you need to understand that you'll still need to sacrifice and endure. And the last one, small wins add up. It's gonna take time to change, but eventually you get there. Keep going, time flies, and before you know it, you'll get the results. Also relating to this, you need to show up. Even if you can't do the full workout, full cardio session, the calories, you can't do the max intensity, just do your best that you can for that day. Don't sit there and do nothing. Don't just go all in and binge on your diet just because you couldn't hit your calories and you accidentally went over by 300. Stop it at the 300 over. Don't just binge. Small wins add up. A bad workout with less volume and not failure sets, just close to failure or not even to failure, just kind of going through the motions, it's better that you would have showed up and done that. Better that you showed up and did 2 sets for each exercise as opposed to 4 to 6 sets than had you have not shown up at all. Small wins add up, of course, but so do very small wins. You can't add up 0 a bunch of times and get anything other than 0. So just remember that. You can add up 0.5 many times and get a number that continues to get bigger, but 0 does nothing but give you 0. And that's it, guys. I'm finished here. This concludes the guide to getting your dream physique. Good luck on the journey. It's a fun one. It's hard. It's very rewarding. You will get there. Let me know if this video helped you, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.